Okay, let's go.
I suggest that he watch days. Late? No, that sounds like a textbook. I suggest days. Late? Maria, come over here for a second. My brain is glitching.
Is something the matter, Hugo? You look as though you've just seen a ghost, or perhaps a dangling modifier.
Worse. I'm writing this email to the production team about the new studio lights, and I wrote, "It's vital that everyone be here by 8. But then I looked at it and thought, wait, everyone is here? Everyone be here? It sounds like I'm trying to speak Old English or something. Is be even a real word anymore?
Oh, Hugo, you've stumbled right into the mandative subjunctive. Technically speaking, your sentence is perfectly correct. In fact, for a professional memo, it is the most sophisticated choice you could make.
Sophisticated? Maria, if I say I suggest he stay to my friends at the gym, they're going to think I've spent too much time reading 19th century poetry. But you're saying I should use the naked verb?
Precisely. When we use certain trigger verbs or adjectives that express a requirement, like vital, essential, or suggest, the following verb loses its inflection. It returns to its base form.
And that, everyone, is the sound of 1,000 intermediate students hitting a brick wall. Welcome back to the Mrs. English Interactive Podcast. I'm Hugo, your communication coach, the guy who keeps things real when the grammar gets weird.
And I am Maria, your structure specialist. I'm the one who explains why the grammar is weird so you can stop guessing and start speaking with precision.
Today, we are tackling a massive friction point for anyone who feels stuck at the intermediate level. You know the feeling. You can survive a conversation, but as soon as you try to sound professional or talk about a what-if scenario, your tongue gets tied in a knot. We are diving into the subjunctive mood, what I like to call the grammar of the unreal, and later, we'll look at the passive voice. Specifically, why native speakers use get instead of be when things go wrong. Wait, Maria? Subjunctive mood? Can we get a translation for the no-linguist zone?
Of course. The subjunctive mood is a specific verb category used to explore non-factual scenarios.
Translation. The unreal mode. We use this when we aren't talking about what is happening, but what we wish would happen, what we demand should happen, or what might happen in a dream world.
If we look at the origin of the word subjunctive, comes from the Latin subjunctivus, meaning serving to join. It's almost always joined under a main clause. It's a ghost of Old English that is still haunting our professional emails today.
A ghost in the machine. I love that. So, let's talk about that email I was writing. I used the word vital. Maria, why does vital make my verb lose its clothes and become a naked verb?
Because vital is what we call a boss adjective. It carries the weight of a command. When you say, "It is vital that he arrive on time," the word "that" signals a shift into the subjunctive. Because the arrival hasn't happened yet, it's a requirement, not a fact. We use the bare infinitive.
Okay, let's use a modern mirror for this. Think of the subjunctive like a professional filter on your Instagram or LinkedIn. You could say, "It's important that he arrives, and people will understand you." That's the TikTok version. Casual, a little messy, but it works. But if you want the LinkedIn version, the one that makes you sound like a CEO or a high-level manager, you drop that S. You use the filter. It is important that he arrive.
That is a wonderful analogy, Hugo. However, students often struggle because they try to apply logic where the language has become simplified over time. For example, the most common use people hear is, "if I were you."
Oh, man. This is the one that causes the most grammar anxiety. I see students in the comments all the time asking, "Hugo, I am singular, so why am I using were, which is for plural people?"
That is the Irrealis mood. It's a special form of the verb to be, used specifically for conditions that are contrary to fact. Because you are not me, you cannot use the factual was. You must use were to signal to the listener, "Attention! This is a fantasy."
It's like a dream filter for your life. If I say, "if I was in London last week," I'm talking about a real possibility. Maybe I was there. Maybe I wasn't. I'm checking my calendar. But if I say, "if I were in London right now," I'm clearly standing here in the studio with you, Maria. I'm dreaming of fish and chips.
Precisely. The were acts as a musical cue. It tells the listener that the next part of your sentence is going to involve a helper word like would or could.
Wait, Maria said helper word. She means auxiliary verb. I'm keeping her on track today.
Thank you, Hugo. Yes, the helper word would almost always follows a were subjunctive. If I were faster, I would win.
Here's the kicker, though, and this is where the textbooks usually lie to you. In the real world, native speakers are getting lazy. Or, as Maria would say, the language is evolving.
It is true. In casual, spoken English, the distinction between was and were is fading. You will hear millions of native speakers say, "If I was you."
But, and this is a big but, if you are in a job interview, or you're writing a formal letter, or you're taking an English exam like the IELTS or TOEFL, you need that were. It's the difference between looking like you know the rules and looking like you're just guessing.
I think our community needs a moment to let that sink in. The unreal mode isn't just a rule to memorize, it's a tool for social clarity. It tells people exactly how much of a dream you are describing.
I need a coffee before we tackle the next part. My brain is starting to feel a bit unreal itself.
A wise suggestion. Why don't you go grab one? Community. Take a deep breath. Maybe stretch your legs. When we come back, we're moving from the unreal to the unexpected. We're talking about why you get fired, but you are promoted.
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Great to have you back in the studio with us. I've got my coffee, Maria's got her dictionary, mentally at least, and we are ready to get into the meat of the lesson.
Thank you, Hugo. In the first segment, we touched on the unreal mode, the subjunctive, but now we must examine the specific architecture that causes the most stuck intermediate errors, specifically the mandative subjunctive.
Wait, mandative? Can we get a translation?
Of course. In the no-linguist zone, we call these boss verbs. These are words like suggest, recommend, demand, insist, and require. They are words used to tell someone what should happen.
Okay, boss verbs. I like that. Here's the thing, community. These words are absolute traps. If you use a word like advise, you can say, I advise you to go. But if you use the boss verb suggest, that to vanishes into thin air.
Precisely. It is a frequent point of friction. One does not suggest someone to do something. One suggests that someone do something.
It feels like you're missing a piece of the puzzle, right? Your brain wants to put that to in there because it feels safe. But in the real world, the boss verb is so powerful, it kicks the to right out of the sentence. Think of it like a VIP club. The boss verb has its own rules.
And the most important rule of the boss verb club is that the following verb must be the naked form. No matter if the subject is he, she, or the entire company, the verb does not take an S.
I can hear the gasps from here. Maria, you mean I suggest she stay late?
I do indeed. She stay, not she stays. This is because we are talking about a requirement, not a factual observation of what she is currently doing.
Listen to her, guys. If you're writing a report for your boss and you say, I recommend that the manager checks the files, you're using TikTok English. It's fine, we get it. But if you write, I recommend that the manager check the files, you just leveled up to LinkedIn English. You sound like you own the place.
Speaking of levels, Hugo, we must address the music of the sentence, or the intonation, when we pivot to the passive voice.
Ah, the flipped sentence. This is where the person receiving the action becomes the star of the show.
In formal structures, we use the be passive. The project was completed by the team. It's objective. It's professional. It belongs in a textbook or a scientific journal.
It's a bit dry, isn't it, Maria? It's like wearing a three-piece suit to a backyard barbecue.
Perhaps. Which is why the get passive is so essential for our learners to master for conversational confidence.
This is the street-smart passive. Instead of, I was promoted, you say, I got promoted. Instead of, my car was hit, you say, my car got hit.
But there is a secret rule that textbooks often omit. The get passive is only compatible with action verbs. You cannot use it with stative verbs.
Stative verbs? Maria, we need a translation.
A stative verb is a non-action word. It describes a state of being, an emotion, or a mental process, like love, hate, believe, or know.
Got it. So, non-action words. Think of it this way. If you can't see the action happening in a movie, you can't use get. You can't get loved or get known. That sounds like a robot trying to be human. You have to use be. I am loved. He is known.
Excellent distinction. But here is the kicker. We use get specifically for the unexpected. If something happens that is a surprise, whether it's a brilliant surprise or a terrible one, native speakers almost always reach for get.
It's the shock filter. If I say my bike was stolen, I'm telling the police. If I say my bike got stolen, I'm telling my best friend, and I'm probably gesturing wildly because I can't believe it happened.
It adds a layer of human emotion, and it also clears up ambiguity. Take the verb to marry. If I say Maria was married last year, it sounds as if I am describing a state that might be over. It almost sounds like I'm divorced.
Maria, don't scare me like that.
Don't worry, Hugo. But if I say I got married last year, everyone knows I'm talking about the specific event, the wedding day, the action.
Do you see the power of these small words? Be is the status. Get is the action. Be is the suit. Get is the jeans.
I know your brains are probably feeling a bit over capacity right now. We've covered boss verbs, naked verbs, and the emotional passive.
Take a breath. We're moving you from grammar anxiety to conversational confidence, one flipped sentence at a time.
Let's take a final break. When we return, Hugo is going to put me through the real-world test, and we'll see if I can handle some of the most common mistakes our community faces.
Oh, I've got some word best friends that are going to trip you up, Maria. See you in a few. And we are back. If you're still with us, you are officially a grammar warrior. You've survived the unreal mode, you've met the boss verbs, and you've learned how to flip your sentences with get.
Welcome to the final stretch, everyone. It is one thing to understand a rule in a quiet room with a textbook, but it is quite another to use it correctly when you are nervous in a boardroom or excited at a party.
That's why we're doing the Mrs. English real-world test. I'm going to throw Maria into 3 messy, real-life scenarios. She has to fix the grammar, and I'm going to tell you how to make it sound human. Ready, Maria?
I am ready, Hugo. Bring on the linguistic friction.
Scenario 1. You're at a high-level business meeting. Your boss, let's call him Mr. Biggs, asks for your input on the new marketing strategy. You want to sound professional, so you say, Mr. Biggs, I suggest you to hire more designers. Maria, did I just lose my job?
You might not lose your job, but you certainly lost your LinkedIn Polish. 1. As we discussed, the verb suggest is a boss verb. It does not follow the same pattern as advise. You cannot use the to infinitive, which Hugo calls the to plus action word after it. 2.
Right. No to allowed in the VIP section.
Precisely. You should say, I suggest that you hire more designers. Or, if you want to be more concise, I suggest hiring more designers. 2.
Here's the communication coach tip. When you're talking to a boss, use that naked verb. I suggest he be in charge. It sounds authoritative. It shows you know the secret codes of the English language. But Maria, what if I say, according to me, we need more designers?
That is another high-friction area. In standard English, according to is reserved for third-party information, like a report or a news source. 2. When you use it for yourself, it sounds as if you are quoting yourself as a historical document. It's a bit arrogant.
It's like saying, according to the legend of Hugo, we need designers. Don't do it. Use in my opinion or from my perspective. 2. Scenario 2. You're at a cafe with a friend. You're telling them about a crazy weekend. You say, you won't believe it. My brother was arrested. Maria, why does that sound like I'm reading a police report?
Because the be passive, the flipped sentence with is objective and detached. 3. If you want to convey the shock and the drama of the event, you should use the get passive.
Exactly. My brother got arrested. It adds that shock filter we talked about. 1. It tells your friend, hey, this was unexpected and unwanted. 3. But wait, Maria, I remember you said there was a math side to this?
Oh, yes. If we look at the probability of the subjunctive being used correctly by a native speaker in a specific genre, we can actually model it. For our advanced students, think of it like this. Fs equals Rs I equals 1n ti times GWAIT. Fs equals sum underscore I equals 1 caret n ti times g underscore weight. Fs equals Rs I equals 1n ti times GWAIT. Where SSS is the likelihood of the subjunctive, TTT represents the trigger words like vital or suggest, and GGG is the genre weight, like formal academic versus casual TikTok.
Okay. And back to the real world. Maria's math just proved that the fancier the situation, the more you need these rules. Last scenario. You're at the front desk of a hotel. You're annoyed because you can't find the gym. You ask, could you tell me where is the gym? Maria, why is the receptionist looking at me funny?
Because you used the wrong word order for an indirect question. 2. When a question is inside a larger statement, the verb must follow the subject. We call this the Google Maps rule. 1. You should say, could you tell me where the gym is?
The verb is like the destination on your map. It goes at the very end. 1. Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me who she is? If you put the verb in the middle, you sound like you're still stuck in the textbook.
Hugo, I think our community is ready. We have covered the unreal mode, the boss verbs, and the flipped sentences.
Before we go, we have to do the text message summary. This is the TLDR for your brain. If you only remember one thing from today, let it be this.
Use were for dreams, if I were rich, and was for facts. Use naked verbs after boss words like suggest, I suggest she stay. 5.
And use get when you're shocked. I got fired. And be when you're being a professional. I was promoted. Done. 3.
Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. We know your brains might be a bit tired, but that is the sound of growth.
If you found this helpful, do us a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Tell us, what is one thing you would do if you were the president of the world? Maria and I will be down there checking your naked verbs.
We look forward to seeing your examples. Until next time, stay curious and stay polished.
And stay real. We'll see you next time on the Mrs. English Interactive Podcast.